Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so this is my first high conflict co-parenting Q&A. Okay, so for high conflict co-parenting specifically, hi there. So if you are forced to co-parent with someone high conflict, toxic, narcissistic, difficult, basically there is no co-parenting, then this is the Q&A for you. Hello, hello, hello. If you have any questions, if it's 1 or 2 sentences, I can read it and then hopefully answer. So I'm going to wait for you all to come on and then answer. If it's anything longer, then I won't likely be able to answer. So just bear that in mind. Hope you're all well. Good to see you. And when I say co-parenting, as I've said in all of my content, and I always refer to it, it's always co-parenting in quote marks, because there is no co-parenting. It's usually parallel parenting or counter-parenting. And can everybody hear me? Can you just tell me if you can hear me? Just write a yes. Somebody said, how do I explain to CPS and court that working together for the kids is not possible? Okay, that is dealing with third parties, and I have some resources on that. It is really difficult if they have not got experience on narcissistic abuse or emotional abuse. It's really difficult for third parties to even know, I'm glad you can hear me, to even know what you're dealing with, because usually you are classed as high conflict with them if you can't get along, or it's just the case of, oh, we just don't get along. Okay, so it is really difficult to explain to third parties. There is a way to do it without sounding crazy or vindictive or bitter, and I go through that in some free resources that I'm creating at the moment, so look out for that. But it is difficult, especially when they are on show and they are specifically covert in their behaviors and they appear to be a great parent. Then it is really difficult to communicate that you are dealing with someone who isn't working in the best interest of the children and also isn't able to cooperate with you, and it's very difficult. You may even be afraid for your safety. Not everybody is in this position, but in one of my group coaching calls, one of the mums was afraid for her safety and is, and has a protective order, but has been re-victimized basically and invalidated within the court system. So it is very unfortunate that they do need education on this, but there is a way to kind of communicate this without getting to defending yourself. Okay. Any other questions? It's a big topic as well. Third parties aren't necessarily always attorneys and lawyers. It could be the school, it could be doctors, it could be your friends and family who have no awareness as well. Yes, fighting back. It's not about fighting back, and it's not about defending yourself. It's just about being smart and strategic in how you communicate. And unfortunately, it does lie on us to be cool, calm, and collected in when we communicate with these third parties, because they do not understand unless somebody has experienced firsthand narcissistic abuse, emotional abuse, hidden abuse, whatever you want to call it. They do not know and they do not understand what you are dealing with. Okay. An earlier question, I think it was a guy, sorry I missed your name. You are not allowed to see your child. I mean, obviously I don't know, that wasn't the question. I think that was just a statement. You're going to have to get some legal advice on that, because without knowing the details I can't really point you in the right direction. But yes, it is extremely difficult and frustrating when you're very welcome, Lena. When your child is withheld, I can only imagine what that feels like, and it really depends on the situation. And another thing I just want to quickly say, because you're a guy, I'm assuming that your ex is the mother. We always assume that the child goes to the mum, or the mum gets the share of the custody. That can be true in a lot of cases, but not necessarily, and it really does depend on the situation. Lottie, yes, yeah, so don't give them what they want. They want you to get drawn into their chaos. So it's good that, yeah, why don't you, or how do you stay calm? Exactly. Because you have no other choice to stay calm. We have to stay calm when dealing with somebody who is high conflict. Otherwise, you're going to be classed as high conflict yourself, or you're going to get emotional and dragged into their drama and then start falling into their traps, so that they can then turn around and say, see, she is just as crazy, she's abusive, she's dramatic, she's sensitive, whatever it may be. So there is no other option but to be calm, and that is a process, and it takes time, and it's not easy, but it is a skill set that you're going to have to learn if you have to co-parent with somebody of this nature, because it isn't easy, and you don't want the next 18 years like this, because it will drag you into the ground. And you must have boundaries. Yes, exactly. Boundaries, everyone, and I've said this many times, everyone knows what they are. Everyone knows in theory how to enforce their boundaries or verbalize their boundaries or even give non-verbal boundaries, but to do it diligently and consistently is where people seem to fall short, because they focus on the reaction, the negative reaction that they get. And this is the thing, you've experienced one of the worst things, I think, one of the worst experiences and the worst traumas dealing with somebody like that. You have either gotten yourself out of that situation, or, you know, maybe they discarded you. It doesn't really matter, you survived because you're still here. And yes, unfortunately, or fortunately, you have children with them, but your life doesn't have to be over. Your life does not have to be over just because you are forced to co-parent with somebody of this nature. And it doesn't have to be a life sentence. It can feel like it, but that is allowing the other person to still hold control over you, and still assert control over you. And when we operate in fear, that hands our power over. We all know this, but if you want to stop operating in fear and stop handing your power over, the only option is to reclaim it back. And that takes learning the skill sets you need to deal with somebody of this nature. How to deal with pick-up and drop-ups, how to deal with constantly pushing your boundaries, how to deal with denigrating you to the children, how to deal with helping your children deal with the two different households and the two different parenting styles, because within your home there's a parenting style, and within the other home there is usually a lack of parenting there, as you probably already know. All right, so are there any other questions on high conflict co-parenting? I'm going to be going live in my private Facebook community to go through some training in there. So if you are not a member of that private community, you can find the link in the highlights of my page. Just click my name at the top and then you can go to the highlights and it says Facebook community there. You can join there, or I think the link in my bio. But in terms of high conflict co-parenting, a big key is when you can get out of your head that you are going to be able to co-parent with somebody like this, and actually just play by your own rules and stop being at the mercy of the other person and realize that they do not hold as much power, then that will really set you far ahead in this journey, because it's a co-parenting journey. It is a high conflict co-parenting journey, because they don't go away. It doesn't get easier. They don't suddenly realize that they're not working in the best interest of the children, and they don't suddenly get on board with what you want them to. That's just a given, and that's just a fact, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to sign off if there are no further questions. I'm going live in my private community in about 5-10 minutes. The link is in the stories. You're so very welcome. The link is in the stories, or the link in my bio, I think. Other than that, no further questions. I will see you very soon. Bye for now.